10-987-65-4321.
10-987. Fine. Okay. 10-987-65-4321.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here live at the Democratic National Convention here in the United Center in Chicago, where Michael Jordan made it famous. And we're happy to have with us as our very special guest, our dear brother, who's doing an incredible work with the Mean Green Machine.
Mean Green Machine.
American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees. And you know, it's good, the two of them are here. Dr. Chavis, again, with me as always. Make it plain in partnership with the NNPA and let it be known, because they both at one point intersected in the work that AFSCME was doing. We'll get in a little bit of that. But first of all, the president of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, our dear brother, Lee Saunders. Lee, good to see you, man.
Good being here.
All right, wonderful, man. This is a good feeling, this convention, isn't it? It's a good feeling at this convention.
It is a very good feeling. It's an exciting feeling. People are charged up. I think that they understand that when we leave this place, we're going to have to do what we do best, and that's organizing and mobilizing and educating our communities and our members and folks who care about justice and freedom and moving this country forward.
Indeed, indeed. Are you excited about what this ticket will be able to do for labor?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, Kamala Harris has a great record on labor issues. She's a good friend. We've known her since she's been in California. She stands for working people. She was a part of the success of the Biden administration. She supported our efforts to move more money into state and local governments with the relief plan. She was supportive of the infrastructure plan, reducing healthcare costs. So she was a team member of the Biden administration. She was worked with him on this, and that will continue when she becomes president of the United States.
What would Project 2025? What jeopardy would that put labor in and workers, middle class labor workers?
Well, I will tell you what it will do to the public sector unions, and I represent the public service. We have 1.4 million members. They have spelled out in the 900-page document that public sector labor unions should not be in existence. They want to take us out of the ballgame completely, saying that public sector workers should not be able to organize and have a seat at the table. They would destroy us. And we are explaining that to our members and talking about it, similar to what Scott Walker did in Wisconsin and what other governors are trying to do, where they believe that public sector workers should not have the right to organize. And obviously, we have a strong opinion on that, and we're mobilizing our members around that. One thing that our members believe in, and we have members who are conservatives, moderates, independents, Republicans, Democrats, but one thing they all believe is that they deserve a seat at the table, and they will fight and make their voices heard if somebody takes that away.
Yeah, no, that's very, very important. We should also acknowledge, Ben, that, and I want to go through this. We call them the Big Six now. Of the major labor unions, the six major ones, they all headed by African Americans, correct?
Well, you have me, you have Becky from the NEA, you have April from SEIU, you have Claude from CWA, so that's four, and then you have Everett Kelly as AFG. And I might be blanking on one, but I mean, it's still going. No, the painters that he retired.
Okay, I thought there was another one. Maybe I'm
Yeah, I don't think there
is.
There's
another. So that's five, but that's something, and that's also a reflection of over time our long-standing work and participation in these unions to even rise to that level. I mean, that's just not something that just happened overnight. That's because of our longevity in these labor unions.
That's exactly right. And it's because of those leaders spending time in the vineyards, if you want to call it that, and proving themselves and showing that they believed in organizing workers, and they grew up through the ranks. And that's what happened with me. I was a state employee in Ohio, moved to Washington, D.C. and worked for the National Union and moved myself up and doing almost every job that existed in every department within the union. So, and you've had that happen with other unions as well.
Yeah, no, that's very, very important. So for the historical purpose, what I want to do is acknowledge Some know this history. I should never tell anyone knows the history. The sanitation workers strike in Memphis. Part of the issue, folks, was that they were trying to form an AFSCME union in Memphis, the sanitation workers.
That's correct. 1968.
1968. Dr. Chavis
April.
was working as an organizer, both the SCLC and AFSCME in Charlotte, North Carolina, correct?
Yes.
And Dr. King was to have left Memphis and joined Dr. Chavis in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, what a lot of people didn't know, which I didn't know, that there was another sanitation work. There was sanitation workers strike in Memphis and then one in Charlotte.
Right, because North Carolina was a right to work state, and they were disrespecting the sanitation workers in Charlotte like they were doing in Tennessee. And we got inspired in Charlotte by what was happening in Memphis.
Yeah.
And, be very honest. I learned how to organize with Southern Christian Leadership Conference. But what I learned working with the AFSCME group in Charlotte, North Carolina, was how to not only organize, but to mobilize. There's a big difference. You can have an organization and the organization stands still. What the labor union taught me was how to mobilize. First, the workers themselves, then their families, then the communities, the churches. And I think that one of the things why we still have a civil rights movement today is because of the alliance between labor and civil rights. And of course, when Dr. King was assassinated, we looked around, how are we going to keep the movement alive? It was organized labor that stepped up, to make sure that SCLC would not die, to make sure that the trauma of Dr. King's assassination wouldn't overwhelm the organizers and the mobilizers. It was a difficult time because Nixon, Dr. King was killed in April, Kennedy was killed in June, and then Nixon gets elected in November. He and Spiro Agnew ran on a law and order campaign, and there was a suppression of labor, suppression of civil rights. So we go into the 70s, then the height of the Vietnam War, dealing with all these suppressive tactics, trying to suppress the rights of workers. But I just want to salute AFSCME for its vigilance. I mean, you can go to Memphis, Tennessee today and track what happened before April 1968 and what happened after April 1968. The dignity of sanitation workers was raised to a very high level as a result of what happened in Memphis, Tennessee.
That's right. That's right.
Now, Lee, what is AFSCME? What is the Mean Green Machine preparing to do in terms of mobilization going into November? First of all, now Becky was here yesterday. She bragged. She said she has the largest unit.
Mm-hmm. She has a big unit.
She has bigger. How big is AFSCME now?
AFSCME is 1.4 million members.
1.4 million.
Yeah.
Now, to be clear, because it's AFSCME, can members of AFSCME participate politically and not be?
Yes.
They're not hatched. No. That only applies to federal government.
Right.
Okay, so you all can do whatever you need to do.
Yes.
Talk to us about the mobilization you have planned.
Well, it's not what's being planned; it's what's taking place
right
now. Sure. And I'm also the chair of the political committee of the AFL-CIO. And one of the things that we have done, and they've taken the AFSCME model essentially because I used it as the political chair, and that is to organize year round. We just can't parachute people in for a month or 2 months in an area and expect that they're going to develop the relationships that they need to move an agenda, to have people support that agenda. What we've got to do is talk with our members every single day of the year by knocking on the doors, going to the work sites, having those individual discussions, but also listening to what they've got to say. So it's not like you're trying to force feed them into something, but you're developing a relationship where you can have communication and people trust you when you do that. Yeah. So we've got a year-round program. It's an organizing program where we are organizing the workers, but we also match up with our political program, and we do the same thing where we represent workers, but we talk to them and listen to them about what their desires and needs are regarding the political arena is concerned. And when you do that, you're involving them in this process. So it's not like we're going to start tomorrow. We've been doing it, man.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we're going to expand what we're doing and doing it at a higher level and put more people on the ground. But we've already got something that's established that works year round. And that way you can ask people to do something and talk to them and they'll say, we get it and we're on board.
Lee, are there any battleground states where you are let's say, strongest and most organized, you feel confident about it? Are there battleground states where you think AFSCME in particular is going to make the biggest difference?
We're going to make a huge difference in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
We'll make a difference in Michigan. We have a strong local, although we aren't real big, but in Georgia, we have power. We can do things in Wisconsin, even though they tried to take our rights away from us, but we still have a strong local union there. So Minnesota, where Tim Walz, my buddy, is from. Although I think you can take that one off the map, but we're still going to be there because we've got to deal with that as well. And then we're looking at Nevada and Arizona, where we organized in Nevada. We got collective bargaining thanks to friendly legislature and friendly governor, and we've grown our union substantially in that state, and we're growing our union in Arizona, and we're going to move an agenda there.
Yes.
So, Mark, I think here at this convention, the Democrat National Convention, what's different between 1968 and 2024? Almost a third of these delegates are organized labor. That has never happened before in the history of the Democratic Party. So I think we could say, without fear of contradictions, that this convention is a workers' rights convention. That this convention is about taking people to get them on the pathway to the middle class, on the pathway out of poverty. But also, we got a challenge. To me, we need to bust up some of these union busting states, and so I'm hoping that in this campaign, in this mobilization between now and November, that get out the vote is critically linked to protecting the rights of labor.
No.
Indeed.
No question.
Lee Saunders, and of course, Lee spoke Monday on the program, right?
I did.
And AFSCME is very important in this. And if people want to find out more about AFSCME's get out the vote effort, organizing efforts, and all that, where can they go?
They can get on our website at afscme.org, and they can find out about us and learn more about us. But what I would ask is, this is a team effort.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
It really is a team effort. It's with our friends in the media, like you two, okay? Yes. It's a team effort with our community, partnerships that exist across the country. We've got to come together. All of us got to come together to deal with this fight. Yes. And to deal with the fact that if we don't get out there and do what we need to do, these folks are going to take us so far backwards that it will be unbelievable.
You're right.
You will not even be able to see it.
Not going back?
Not going back, man.
All right.
Good.
President of the Mean Green Machine, our brother, Lee Saunders. We're doing this for life. Thank you, brother.
Thank
you for coming by, making it plain.
God bless you.
We
God
appreciate
bless
you. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, man. All right. Dr. Chavis, do we need to talk to our attorney?
Yeah,
Does he need to depose us?
He's on another news. He's on another news network, but we got to invite.
Come on, man. Come on, have a seat. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Lee. Good to see you, man. Talk to A. Scott for a minute. I got to take care of some other business. Talk to A. Scott for a minute. Where is it? Okay, no, thank you. Thank you for making that happen. All right. Come on, A. Scott. Have a sit down.
Man.
Talk Dr. Chavers while I do something real quick. I got to make a quick transition.
Was it mine? So we will down. The mic is on. Okay. So we're back live at the Democratic National Convention. Stacey Brown, our national senior correspondent for the NNPA, the National Newspaper Public Association. A. Scott Bolden has many titles, many hats. We're very proud in the NNPA that he's our general counsel. We forgive him for going on another news network. But the fact of the matter is, this is about all of us working together. Scott, from your informed perspective, you were a Democratic Party leader in D.C.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you know what's at stake. But from your informed perspective, tell us
Mhm.
why this convention and why this election is important to Black America.
Yeah, it's so consequential. And being back here in Chicago, I grew up in Joliet, not
Yeah.
far from here. My daddy was a civil rights activist with my mom, and
Joliet was where all the gangsters are.
that's right. Well, yeah, 3 prisons too. That's what they all, and he represented all of them. So as a result, um,
Yes.
I think about my parents all the time, thinking how proud they would have been if they were here.
Yeah.
And listen, this country isn't Trump country. This country,
Can you pull up closer?
its values, black, white, yellow, brown, have never been about indecency. It's been about decency, right?
Yeah.
And I've always felt that since 2016, this dystopian view of America, we're gonna make America great again. America's pretty great right now, at least for black, brown people, women. It's never been better, quite frankly. Imperfect, but the Constitution says itself, in search of a more perfect union. And we just haven't perfected it yet. Clearly, the history of black people, it hasn't. But Kamala and Waltz represent a new beginning, in my opinion. The voters said, and the polling said, they didn't want Trump versus Biden. And this is the manifestation of that. Biden steps back in a selfless political act. You put up Kamala Harris and Waltz, and you see that the voters, black, brown, yellow, white voters, are coalescing around her, even Republicans, because the dystopian, the negative energy from the RNC, the cult, the MAGA cult party just isn't selling anymore. And it's not going to sell. She's 3 to 5 points up now. She's going to get another bump from this convention, and she's going to get a bump from the debate. And so I really don't think it's going to be close if we stay disciplined and stay focused.
Yeah.
Now, if there are mistakes made, then yeah, it's going to be a problem. But if she keeps the course, this isn't going to be as close as I keep hearing the pundits say.
I'm going to come back to some minutes. I want to bring our guest on in the interest of time.
Okay.
But when we come back to Attorney Bolden, what I think we also got to deal with is people are saying he's not really campaigning because he already knows the trick he's going to pull. They're going to play a game with some electors. He's going to try to throw it in the Supreme Court. I'll come back to you on that because I want to get your thoughts about how we prepare in advance for the trick. But as you all can see, we have someone here with us who is very special, one of the Tennessee 3,
Yes.
Gloria Johnson, who is also running for office, and she's doing something that may be as challenging as Kamala Harris running for president, because you running in my home state, which was blue at one time. People don't believe that. She's running against Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, but doing well, I believe. How you doing, Gloria?
Oh yeah, doing great. I've never seen Tennessee so excited about an election as they have been this year. It's really remarkable how many people are coming out and just really, we cannot wait to vote. That is what we need exactly. We've been 50th or 51st in voter turnout in the last few cycles, and we are going to change it this time because, I'm running against Marsha Blackburn in 2018 when she ran last. She only won by 200,000 voters. And we know that there are 300,000 Democrats who haven't voted the last few cycles. When they come out, we win the Senate seat, plus we flip some down-ballot state House and state Senate seats. And right now, the Vanderbilt poll already has me beating her with women 49 to 43%.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And of those 300,000 we need to turn out, what percentage of those are women?
I would say at least half of those are women. Tennessee is 52% women, so I'd say it's probably got a similar split to our population.
So if women do their part,
we got it.
So we had a women for Harris call, we need a women for Gloria Johnson call. No, have you had one?
Absolutely.
Have you had one yet?
We have a women for Gloria group. We absolutely do.
Yeah. Gloria, meet Attorney A. Scott Bolden.
Hello,
and,
good to meet you.
And civil rights icon, Dr. Benjamin Chambers.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Proud of your leadership.
Thank you.
No, Gloria stood up with the Tennessee three. There were the two Justins and her, and so that was very, very important. So what's Marsha saying? Is she scared? Is she acting like Trump around here?
She's really staying hidden. Interestingly enough, she has not had a town hall in 7.5 years. She is not doing any public. We haven't seen her out in the public since this campaign started, since we started. She says she's going on to 95 counties, but it's closed door meeting with county executives. That's all we're seeing her do. She was supposed to show up around Memphis one morning. That was the only thing that we had heard about publicly, but she was a no-show. So she's not getting out and talking to people. And we are now 7 counties away from finishing our 95 county tour. And our 95 county tour was printed on our website. Anyone who wanted to could show up, regardless of party. We're talking to everyone. We're talking to independents, Republicans, Democrats. Before I ran this race and got in this race, I talked with Stacey Abrams, and she said you've got to go everywhere and you've got to go where they don't expect you.
Yeah. So you literally, when you have your gatherings, Republicans and independents show.
Yes. And many of them come and say, I've been a Republican my whole life, but we're voting Democratic.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the biggest issue for Tennessee voters right now?
Interestingly enough, initially when I first started this, the reason I had 50 Republicans at my campaign kickoff was because mainly Dobbs' decision for gun violence. And so, but now what I'm finding out is from folks like one couple that came in and said, we're lifelong Republicans. But we're voting Democratic this year. We've never even given to a Republican candidate, but we donated to your campaign.
Wow.
And I asked them why, and they said, well, we're evangelical Christians. And we don't feel like our party is following the true faith of what Jesus Christ was about.
Wow.
And that was really an interesting thing to hear.
Wow.
And then there was another couple, lifelong Republicans, that said, the woman told me her husband was more conservative than her. And she said, we watched the entirety of the hearings for you three when they expelled us or tried to expel us. And she said, we watched it from start to finish. And she said, my husband is more conservative than me. But at the end of those hearings, he said, I'll never vote for a Tennessee Republican again.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And obviously the gun violence didn't help. I mean, we saw what women did during that special session. And I saw that. I said, Gloria's got a shot. Because we saw some of the women come in and literally they had the power to do certain things. But the women stopped them and said, you're not going to do that.
Right. And because of those people showing up every day, that is how we got a special session. They thought they could drag it out and make it appear like they were doing something and fool people. But they lost the message on that. Those women felt betrayed. They knew they didn't do anything real for gun violence. And they showed up this year in committee every day with their signs. They showed up on the House floor. And you can see it having an effect on those Republicans. They wish they would go away, but I can tell you those moms aren't going away. And this group, the multiracial, multi-generational, multi-partisan coalition that formed after that Covenant shooting is not going to be divided. And that is how we're going to do this. Republican politics is a politics of division. And if we don't allow them to divide us, we are going to win this.
In terms of getting that women vote, including that 52% that's of the 300,000 that not voted, do you think Kamala Harris helps you get that vote out now?
Oh, absolutely. I think I'm with him. I think that, there's way more excitement than people realize. If you go out driving around the 95 counties in Tennessee, what I can tell you, we hardly saw any Trump signs compared to 4 years ago.
Right. I've heard that.
And there's not an excitement.
Not an excitement.
There's really not an excitement. We have that excitement, that energy. And she has boosted it. That Vanderbilt poll was before she became the nominee. I bet you it's changed since then. We will know soon, probably.
And what about how big of an issue in Tennessee are women's reproductive rights?
Huge. I mean, both gun violence and women's reproductive rights are both 80% of support from Tennesseans. Now, when we're talking about reproduction, we're talking about abortion. Folks don't agree on where the line is, but even most MAGA Republicans believe in exceptions for life of the mother, rape, and incest. And we don't have those in Tennessee.
Yeah, not at all.
Not at all. But we have the only exception is ectopic or molar pregnancies, which don't become a fetus. So, it's just the things that would actually kill women fairly quickly.
So now I want to be clear. It's Tennessee. Ours just did 6 weeks. Is Tennessee on a schedule or just nothing at all?
Nothing at all.
Wow.
Nothing at all, unless it's an ectopic or molar pregnancy.
Okay.
And then for other things with life of the mother, there's a defense for it, but it's not an exception. So your doctor could go to prison for 15 years if you weren't close enough to death.
Okay.
Like it's say if a woman develops cancer and she's pregnant, she wants to treat her cancer. Well, she won't be able to treat her cancer because that would be damaging to the baby.
What?
Yeah, so we're talking life of the mother. She wants that treatment now, which she can't be carrying a pregnancy when she's getting the treatment. But
Unbelievable.
yeah.
Well, listen, we look, this is great, and glad that you are doing well, and that you're doing this, folks. We need to defeat Marsha Blackburn as well. We know we focus on Trump and all that, but we need to defeat Marsha Blackburn. I mean, I know you're in a red state. I have to ask this: is the Democratic Senate campaign committee, are they helping you out at all?
They're on our calls. They've been helpful with staff and staffing up and all that. But I think they might come in and help us out. I think we're going to be that close. So we talk to them regularly.
Dr. Chavis has Chuck Schumer's number, so maybe we can get him. Maybe we can get him to do something, Dr. Chavis. We want to do that.
Absolutely.
Gloria, you are amazing.
Thank you.
And you all don't know, being down there, Gloria kept it together. She literally kept things on an even keel.
Yeah.
So